Okay. Well, Kevin, thanks again for being here.
You're welcome.
Try not to be a fanboy, but I am a huge fanboy of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Those films, I mean, that created my childhood in many ways.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
thank you for being a part of that, because Gibbs is very much a classical character. So
Oh, thank you. That's great.
yeah. When you look back at those films, do you have a favorite one?
Well, I quite I like the second one because obviously, when we did the first one, there hadn't been a successful uh pirate film in 50 years, so we didn't know how it would go. But by the time we came back for the second one, um, we knew that we were a hit, and it has the most Mr. Gibbs in it. So that's the one thing I really like about it.
I imagine that's the same one that you're most nostalgic about.
Yeah, well, I'm nostalgic about the whole series actually. I loved doing all of them. And I loved the people I was working with and the things we had to do. And of course, one of the great things about certainly about the earlier films was that it was before sort of CGI and AI took over films. And so if we wanted to split a ship in half, we split a ship in half, and it was great. And it wasn't all green screen. It was wonderful.
Yeah. My favorite scene from all the films is the one where you and Johnny are walking on a beach, and it's the end of On Stranger Tides,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
ask him, "Hey, like you could have been immortal, but you didn't," and he's just like,
yeah,
"Hey, it's a
yeah.
pirate's life for me." Do you
One of
have
my
a say that again?
one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. Where was that film, by the way? That specific scene.
I believe it was filmed in uh, the Caribbean. It was the Caribbean. I think it was the third one. I'm not sure, but it might have been Hawaii. It's very difficult to remember now.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a particular scene that you're really fond of?
Well, I'm very fond of opening the first film, with the girl singing "Yo Ho Ho," and I'm very keen on my introduction as the pirate Gibbs, with the pigs, which I really like.
Yeah, those are definitely memorable scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I reflect, to me, all the attraction in art is because a person sees a reflection of themselves in the thing. When I was a kid, I think what really drew me to pirates was that I'm ethnically Pakistani, and on film, Captain Jack, he doesn't quite look white. He looks like one of someone like me. And so I remember that is something that really attracted me to pirates. When you were younger, was there a particular film where you really saw something of yourself in it, and so it became a favorite to you?
Um, yes, because when I was younger, um, I was absolutely obsessed with space and astronomy. So I suppose my equivalent film would be 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh,
It's a film I've seen more than any other film ever, and I watch it every year. I love it.
yeah. While we're still talking about pirates, you got this specific painting that I really like, and I wanted to ask you about it. This one here, can you see it?
It's sort of. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Can you tell me about this? What made you want to
Well,
make it?
well, because when I'm over in the States, I usually have a bit of time, if I'm auditioning and stuff. So I went to this class, painting class, because I do like to paint. And basically they were asking us to paint trees against a red sky. Well, I did that quite quickly, so I thought I'd put a zombie in the middle of it, and I think the zombie goes quite well. And I'm also quite proud of the fact that he's a bit more in focus than the background. So that was a very enjoyable thing to do.
Yeah, I remember seeing this painting and it really it took me. And it's interesting you say zombie because the first thought I had was pirate for some reason, but it's
Um,
beautiful
oh,
nonetheless.
yeah, he could look a bit like a pirate, but no, I was intending a zombie because of the ribs and the black eyes and the blood and the torn clothes and good
Yeah,
fun.
it's a cool painting.
Thank you.
But speaking of paintings, when Johnny first joined Instagram, he had actually shared a post of one of his old paintings.
Yeah.
And he said how he started it many years ago and it wasn't quite finished. And it still lingers in the back of his mind. I gotta finish it. I gotta finish it. I feel like all creatives experience that. I'm a writer. I know you are as well. I always get those feelings where I feel like sometimes the ghosts of unfinished projects can almost stop me from living fully. Do you
Well,
experience that?
yes. Well, yes, and particularly at the moment because over the last 5 years since the pandemic, I have directed like 20 short films, and I really want to direct a long form project like a movie or a TV series. And so I find myself embroiled in a whole load of preparation, but haven't managed to achieve to do that yet. So there's always ongoing things. Um, and in fact, a lot of people say, what are you most, what's your favorite job? And I always say the next one, because I want to move on and do something different. And I'm very pleased that I constantly get offers and I can pick and choose what I want to do. But yeah, I mean, I try not to look back and say, well, I could have done that better. I just go, that's what I did, and that was then. And if I have to learn anything from it, I'll learn it for a future project, but not to be regretful.
Do you ever feel chained by unfinished projects?
No, because usually I get to finish them. Ask me in a year's time when I work out these two movies and this TV series if I've managed to make one of them. But I can't think of any project I've had in the past that's remained unfinished. But maybe a couple of scripts that I never got done, but certainly not as an actor. I don't feel that, no.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because that's something that I feel like I frequently wrestle with is to me, the hardest part of anything creatively is crossing the finish line of getting it out there. And I think the parasite behind that is perfectionism. Do you ever struggle with perfectionism or no?
No, not at all, because I find that if we're talking specifically about acting, um, to be a perfectionist means you think there is something you should have done, but what you did was what you did. And did you do that to your full extent? Did you engage with the character to your full extent? And so that's what it is, really. I think the pursuit of perfectionism suggests that there is something perfect you could have done, and there isn't. Everything's interpretive. Everything is just your best effort, and as long as you make your best effort, I don't think there's any reason to be self-derogatory about what you've done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing that sometimes happens to me creatively is when I'm working on something, but it's taken too long, I get frustrated because the person I was at the beginning of it is not the person that I am now. And I sort of yearn for who I was back then. Is that something that you ever encounter?
No, yearn for the person you're going to become. That's what I would say. That's progress if you've changed while you're doing something, and it's all a learning process, really. Um, I wouldn't want to go back and be the actor I was 20 years ago. I enjoy being the actor that I am now, and I think that would apply to writing too.
Hmm. Of all the creative fields that you've worked in, which one brings you the most joy?
Well, these things change over the years. I have about three times in my life reset my career because I didn't feel maybe I was doing so well or not doing good projects, and And I remember in the late 80s, I was doing, I thought wasn't very good television. So I started to write with my dear late writing partner, Bernard. And I did that so that I could reset. Um, and in a way, now that I'm getting older, this is why I'm sort of moving towards direction. So I think everything is progress, really. And I certainly don't hang on to anything in the past that I wish I could repeat.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. How does somebody let go? I love how you said you don't hang on. How does
No,
somebody
don't
let go? How do they begin to just let it be?
do something else. But something else. Continue being creative. You know, if you think that you're drying up or it's not good, just move on to something else, and keep the creativity flowing. Is what I would say.
Yeah. You know, I also think it's interesting that you were in a video game I played a lot as a
Oh
kid.
yeah, which was that?
Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was your experience like voicing the character in that video game?
It was great. Funny enough, I've just been recording a video game this afternoon.
Ah,
I love it because you have to do everything with your voice. You don't have your somebody else is providing your body and your look. I did have a bit of an argument with them because they sort of wanted Mr. Gibbs, and I said, "Well, I don't want to be sued by Disney, so let's give him a full beard and let's give him a different accent." And I don't want to play the same pirate all the time, you know. And I am on my fourth pirate at the moment, so I just try to make them all different. So I did Assassin's Creed with a northern accent. I then did a thing called the Wing Feather Saga, which is a wonderful cartoon series in America. And I made him American. And the one I'm doing at the moment, I've made into a Cockney Londoner. So I can do the same performance, but with a different accent.
yeah, and that's true versatility, eh?
Well, I think you have to be versatile if you don't want to just get stuck in one thing. Yeah. And it's the great thing about being a character actor rather than the film star is that they expect something different from you every time. And I enjoy doing something different every time. I would hate to be in the position where I was employed for a sort of an image I developed. Uh, and at my age, it doesn't matter because, I tend to get offered supporting character roles, really nice supporting character roles. But I don't have to hone an image of myself, which is great.
Yeah. You were also in a film that I liked called Valkyrie.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good film. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did that one take to film?
I think about 3 months.
Hmm.
Um, I was in it for a lot less than that because I was mainly around the end of the film as things started to change. But it was a delightful film to do, and interestingly enough, I was worried about it in that anybody sort of over the age of 30 would know that they didn't succeed in what they were trying to do. But I thought what was brilliant about the film is that they fascinated you by how they didn't succeed, why it didn't work. So I thought that was a really good way around that, and a wonderful cast, of course, and
Yeah.
a great pleasure to work with all of them.
Yeah. There were like a couple people from Pirates in there as well. I was like, wow, it's kind of like
Yeah,
a
Bill,
reunion in a way.
there. Yeah, and a couple of others. Yeah, it was like a little bit of a pirates reunion, really.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that was a great film as well. Um, when you look back at your career, how much of luck has to do with it? Because I always hear that when it comes to Hollywood, luck.
Yeah, there's a
And that's not
lot.
to say you're not talented, by the way. You are
No, no,
incredibly
I
talented.
no, I know it's a good question. I teach a lot nowadays, and so a lot of my students say to me, "How do you get on in this business?" And I say, "Well, I don't know. I never started in this business. It was a very different business." Um, I think luck plays a larger part now because back in the day, TV was just full of drama. Not very good, some of it, but it was five. drama shows a night on British television. So you had the chance to go and do something that you maybe weren't quite suited for and to make some mistakes and get on. I think nowadays for young actors, it's like every job becomes make or break for them. Um, so I think there's a lot more luck now, whether you have the right look or the right voice or the right persona or whatever. So it's yeah, I think there is luck. I think you've got to work hard and be lucky. You've got to have both of those.
Hmm. Was becoming a movie star everything you thought it would be?
Well, I never wanted to be a movie star, and I don't regard myself as a movie star. As I say, I
Oh,
describe myself as a character actor. But uh, the difference with Pirates was that I was 46 years old and a successful actor on television here in England. And then suddenly, at the age of 46, I got involved with this franchise that took me worldwide. So that I hadn't even thought about it. And then suddenly, wherever I go in the world, people know who I am and what I've been in, and that's a stroke of luck. There's your
yeah.
luck. And there we go.
Yeah, I've heard it from other people who found, I guess, do you think it was better for you to get that level of fame and success at an older age versus if you were younger?
Oh, definitely. If I'd have had success in Hollywood in my early 20s, it would be a disaster. It would have been a disaster. I'd got a lot of shit out of my system, and I was able to appreciate it without it going to my head. Really, I mean, uh, I really liked the way it worked out.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. That makes me wonder, where does vanity belong in a thespian?
It doesn't. It doesn't belong. And funny enough, I was having a chat about this very subject to some people I was working with yesterday and filming with for 2 days the day before. Vanity in an actor has no place because vanity leads to self satisfaction. And once you have that, you no longer work or discover or move forward it's also a pain in the ass for everybody you work with as well. There's nothing worse than a vain actor.
Yeah. Something I feel about when it comes to vanity is it's kind of like an emotion that's in the DNA. All humans will kind of have to contend with that throughout their whole lives. What's the best way to keep that thing at bay in your experience?
Um, to be more concerned with what you're doing and achieving than how people are perceiving it. That's my answer to that. That I don't want everybody to love me, and B, I don't care if they don't like what I'm doing. I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing because that's all I can offer, really. But vanity is a bad trait in anybody, even if they're not artists. It's the worst thing you can come across in a person, and I spot it instantly, and I hate it.
Wow. How do you spot it instantly? What's the key?
Well, there are many triggers. One is people who talk too much, one who talk about themselves, people looking for approbation all the time, wanting reassurance. Vanity is a really vile form of insecurity, in my view. I think the secure person or the person who's confident will sit in the corner and listen to what the other people are doing to get to know them rather than to try to get out there and impress and go, look at me, I'm marvelous.
I like how you mentioned that part about talking too much. In the past year, one of the realizations I've had is existence is an advertisement. You have to learn how to advocate for yourself. But that being said, you don't want to brag. So how do you balance it out?
Well, because if you want to put yourself out in the world, you do it by your achievement, not by you telling everybody what you've done. You
Hmm.
know, and people who try to tell you that they're really good, I always go, No, you're not. Otherwise, you wouldn't speak like that. It goes back to the whole vanity of actors. I'm not going to go and start bragging about stuff because I'm too busy working, trying to be the best that I can. And that's the opposite of vanity. That's talking to yourself and saying, be good at what you're doing, be supportive, be a good person to work with, that sort of thing. So yeah, that would be my answer to that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's insightful. It seems like in the film industry now, it's, would you say the film industry is more vain now than before? Because before it seems like there's a lot more fresh ideas coming out, where now it's like remakes and
Oh, definitely. It's very interesting to me, particularly trying to be a director at the moment. That I mean, I think Hollywood is dead, uh, frankly, and there are countries all over the world in the strangest places trying to create film industries because they know there's a gap. Um, and I'm sort of a bit of a part of this because of being in a big franchise. But these big franchises have sort of destroyed the film industry. And I was even reading today a well-known film director, James Cameron, saying that cinema is not going to survive the way it had been in the past. On the other hand, um, certainly here in England, we have little cinemas open with lots of screens, smaller places where they show more films. I know when my friends make films that they ask me to be in, I can get them shown there. But cinema isn't the massive industry it once was, and that's partly to do with the big franchises. It's partly to do with streaming. It's partly to do with people being able to gorge on stuff. Um, so it's the third big change in the industry that's happened in my life. And again, I've been talking about this over the last few days, certainly with my students, about uh, trying to help them understand the industry they're in. But I think you have to remain positive. There'll always be an outlet for interesting and fascinating work. Just sometimes there's a bit of a lull, and we're in one at the moment.
yeah. You have more of an insight than me, but I had written a poem once, and a couple of the lines in there was Hollywood is bedridden, it's not dead. That's how I see it as an outsider.
I
And
I
I
think
think that
that's
shines light on your hope, like
I
there's
think
always
that
that.
that's very well put. It's sick and it's putting its feet up and it's trying to recover, but
Yeah.
it will never die. But I mean, it's interesting. I remember going to Virginia and doing a TV series about the American Revolutionary War, and it was one of the first things that AMC did, and they just financed it and let us make the TV series we wanted, and it was very successful. Um, I think the problem with Hollywood is there's too many um, accountants wanting their say in the artistic element. You just say, well, you just stick to the money and let us deal with the artistic elements, please. So I think that's been a problem. Um, but also, Hollywood has not moved with the times either. Um,
Hmm.
and I know that Atlanta is much more of a hub for film nowadays. But even that's suffering a little. So things have gone to Vancouver, to Toronto. I here's an instance. I want to make this film set in New York. Um, the guy's written and asked me to direct. Um, we can. They have 100 acre set in Bulgaria of New York, so we can go and film there. There's not all the red tape. It's much cheaper, and you can therefore make the film that you want to make. Um, America's, I think, become a bit too expensive to film in, which is why it's lent towards the big blockbusters. If a film doesn't make $700 million, then it's considered a failure. I mean, it's a ridiculous financial attitude to have.
Yeah. when I was younger, um, I think I used to watch movies for therapeutic purposes. There's something therapeutic about watching a film. I feel like
Yeah.
now it is also therapeutic, but in a different way. You can watch something dumb and funny with all this action and explosions, and it's like I can laugh and enjoy it, but I'm probably never going to think about it again. Versus when I was younger,
No, I
the
agree with
film story lingered with me. It followed me.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I do with the local cinema that I'm talking about is I try to do little seasons of films that we've never seen um, in a cinema, films that we grew up with. Maybe the Universal horror films of the 30s or the Warner Brothers gangster films of the 40s, and be able to see them in a cinema environment because we've only ever watched them on our television. And so I think one of the good things might be people will go back and discover how great films used to be and maybe think, well, maybe we ought to start making great films like that again. Films that really affect you, as you're talking about, that ring a chord with you, not just something that is just bland entertainment.
Yeah. And I want to respect your time, Kevin. So I just want to mention one more thing.
Mm.
Um, what I got from Pirates, for example, was that when Captain Jack's compass doesn't work, it's symbolic of his heart. And the way I interpret it is people say, "Hey, it's broken. It's not pointing in the right direction." But actually it is. It's pointing to what you want most. And so in a way, a lesson you can extract is follow your heart, even if everybody's telling you, "Hey, no, it's baloney."
I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Always follow your heart, always follow your compass,
Yeah.
and you'll probably be okay.
Thank you so much for being here, Kevin. I really
But
appreciate your time. It was a wonderful conversation. Do you
love,
have any closing thoughts? Anything you felt like you wanted to say but you didn't get a chance to? Or something on
well,
your mind you wanted to express?
uh, no, but if ever you see a film or a TV series directed by me, watch it. Thank
I'll be
you.
sure to do that. Yes, sir.
And I'm
Yeah,
talking to your audience as well about that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we log off, I just wanted to ask you, I know it might be a long shot, but if you could ever whisper it into Johnny's ear about this podcast and maybe get him to come on, even if it's an unreal request, that'd be cool.
Uh, well, the next time I talk to him, I will.
Okay, well, thank you. And I hope to meet you someday.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll try to get another convention in Houston, and I'll email you.
yeah. Well, thank you, Gibbs. It's Pirate's life for me, eh?
Me too.
Take care.
All right, nice to talk to you, Omer.
Likewise.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye.